My attraction to stone is what takes me to quarries in different parts of the world, and each little chunk is packed full of its own history and identity, and it's just something kind of very solid and permanent about the material I find incredibly appealing. Broached Commissions is different to previous projects that I've worked on, in that I was given a context in which to study, and I haven't had to produce work before that communicates that sort of level of research into a moment in history. When the first fleeters arrived into Sydney Harbour, they would sit within the landscape, they would sit on the roots of the trees, they would sit on the boulders by the side of the water. So it's that engagement with the physical landscape that has kind of created the inspiration for the entire collection of sandstone pieces.
Max Lamb, who came into the project late, after he'd read little screed that I wrote, he had some very interesting questions, and suddenly I realised I was writing for somebody who had no idea of Australia, and I had to think of what things might interest him, having seen what he'd been working on, the marvellous sort of pebble chairs that he had done in China. And of course I thought of Mrs. Macquarie's chair.
I was fascinated by the idea of an object for sitting on being carved directly out of the rock face. For Broached Commissions, I'm making a set of steps, almost like a staircase, that is odd in that it's actually a piece of furniture. Although this looks very perfect and very regular, it's primitive in its perfection. Well, the stool as it is now was probably one of the earliest pieces that I started developing. I was thinking about this material from the perspective of 1788. Everything's very low. It's very low to the ground, but it's also very sort of immediate. It's kind of one step beyond sitting on the floor. So the third piece in the collection is what I'm calling a bench. I was walking around botanical gardens in Sydney Harbour, and I started looking at tree structures again, and I could immediately see how, by taking a slice through the root section and removing it from the tree, you'd expose this profile. So the final piece in the collection is a slab of the sandstone. And again, the inspiration came through my hiking around the peninsula of Sydney Harbour and seeing the natural rock formations. And so what I've actually done is imagined taking one of those blocks out of the landscape and sort of isolating it. My idea has evolved since being on the ground. It's developed to a new stage of my working with stone, and one that I've not explored before. So it's become a very interesting exercise in engaging with the material.